So in the bottom left, playing Sedge, we have Saikoya. And in the top right, also playing Sedge, we have Zeronix. So this is Headland to Deadland. Sedge is a very good pick on this map. I played Sedge in my match during the Swiss rounds and won fairly convincingly. So it'll be interesting to see how well these two can do with Sedge. Zeronix I know is a very capable Sedge player. Definitely one of the strongest players in general. And Saikoya, just taking name after name, beats Red Jams in the round of 16. And did very well during the Swiss rounds, so it'll be interesting to see how well Saikoya can do here. And we see Saikoya's going up to the top left. He's going to try and duke it out with Red Jams, who has, or Zeronix, sorry, who has gone for the wagon opening. It's also a very strong opening on this map. We're just looking at the timer. I'm catching up, they started a few minutes ago. Saikoya is definitely a lot more confident in his opening. At least so far. He's already a couple minutes ahead of the clock. So he's looking like he's in a good position. He's really doing well on this front here. This sword can get taken down, but both swords would die if that happens. So yeah, he's doing well here. And he's going to have a good fight up here. I'm interested to see what's going to come along with this balloon. Dog comes out. Probably a second dog? Second dog comes out. So he's going to balloon that dog to the front. Get himself a nice aggressive force. And Zeronix went for the option where you take the hideout. So this sword's going to be a bit delayed. Whereas Saikoya more going for... There's one sword that went for the back capture. Let's take a look at the overview. So just doing well in general. I like this move up to the mountain. He thinks about it for a bit. But this is a very good position to be in. Attacking a unit. I think in a commander versus commander fight, if you attack a commander that's on a mountain with your commander, you go even, or I think you can sometimes go behind if depending on what the rolls are. So this is not a position you really want to be attacking into. He's going to go for Groove, but he's going to need to surround his commander with units. Otherwise he's potentially going to face down a lot of threat from Sedge, but you know, that means Sedge can kill one of these swords. And possibly even the wagon, depending on what the positioning is. Because one thing that the wagon allows for is, if he didn't take this mountain, he could put a sword on it, or he could put his own Sedge on that mountain. It does allow you to kind of just ignore mobility restrictions. Okay, we're seeing a sword go up on this mountain, that makes sense. This sword, what's it gonna do? And one really important thing to note here is Zeronix has been banking, so Dragon actually would be viable to some extent. Could maybe even see a Golem. No, he goes for the Dragon. He's going to skip a Barracks build, but I think this is worth it. It gives you so much fighting force in this corner. Good to see Sedgehan joining us in the chat for this Sedge versus Sedge match. Okay, Dog's coming down to reinforce, so I'm very curious to how Saikoya is going to deal with this. I don't think you can attack into this safely. This corner should be more easy to solve though. Maybe you just, I don't think this can decap this, so you walk it back, you heal, you send this other sword forward to knock down the village. And that should put the incomes on even again. Sword goes down. This sword's probably going to decap from the left. And then what else do you do here? I mean, this balloon is going to be very useful at keeping the dragon off of getting a Sedge round. Like, you know, there's a mage that can kill the balloon, but have that guard certain sides. Witch comes out, it's actually a really good option here. It allows for more lethal opportunities, wards off the dragon. It's also vulnerable to this mage, but be fine. And yeah, he's just going to move his forces back, not let that dragon kill anything. Okay, like the dragon can reach the sword, but would die for it. Either of those tiles, the mage can run up and grab this mountain. Although, the wagon could move forward and Sedge could go on the mountain. So there's a number of options, although I think there's like double sword suicide crit on the mountain. That happened, so... Although, actually, even if there was, I don't think there's enough follow-up to kill, so... Now the onus is on Zeronix on how to respond. You can't really move this dragon into this front, because it will just get killed. So, probably gonna maybe see it go over to one of these two tiles. And exactly that happens. That gives them a lot of reach across the whole map. Dragons are great when you put them in a center position like this. It means they can attack any front, any kind of weakness on either sides. A dragon will find units and pick them off. And not just units, if villages are weak, a dragon can go and hit those too. Zeronix is just moving his forces more into the center. Probably gonna see this wagon move this mage, maybe there. Yep, gets it down on the forest tile, nice and defended. Just create this like chunk of units in the center where... What are you gonna do? You can't really attack into this right now, there isn't really the units for it. Second mage comes out, which is good, because if that mage does fall, you don't want to leave this witch and this balloon uncontested. And it also gives you options, like if really like a heavy amount of pressure comes into Sedge, you can double heal him. And that allows Sedge to survive or even fight back. Zeronix is just thinking about what to do with his remaining units. A little sad that you can't heal this sword, but it is what it is. It also, having one low health sword is quite useful because you suicide that into a commander. A nice chunk of bonus damage. Okay, Sedge gets loaded up into the balloon. Are we going to see Saikoya switch fronts as well? Zeronix is also the person that, I guess, like, famously said, I don't know how widely spread it was, that Wargroove is a defensive game about creating positions where you're strong and your opponent isn't available to, like, attack into it strongly. And it's less about, like, being aggressive and more about outmaneuvering your opponent with strong defensive formations. And in this case, that's kind of what they're both doing. They're both creating these like, blobs of units and using transports and high mobility to see if they can outmaneuver. You know, the idea is like you bait your opponent into attacking you with an army that they can't really do enough damage with. So for example, like he could attack with this sword and this mage and this dragon, but it wouldn't, that's about it really, all he can really do. Whereas like if he does that, all of these units can attack back into that. So you want to set up a position where you can do a strong attack on your opponent that they can't counterattack into. They've both taken up the center. And this is where things like using villages comes into play. Because that's a place where you can attack through the village into your opponent and your opponent can't attack you. So we could see some stuff happening here. I think this is when knights start to come out as well. Could very well see a knight come out from Zeronix. They allow you to decant villages. There are no spears. So knight will trade really well against everything in this bottom corner, for example. Yeah, neither player is going for spears, neither player is going for archers, so this kind of play is going to be very good. What's Zeronix going to do? He is behind on unit count by 2, which is fairly normal, although one thing to note is building that dragon and skipping a unit build also meant that when Saikoya responded by only building a witch, he could build 2 ground units, so his unit count's like slightly ahead because of that. Oh, he's gonna go for the aggressive play, and he's just gonna dive. Now this is very dangerous because depending on what happens, we could see Sedge just die, or he could eat a ton of damage. Both are entirely possible. But he is forcing Saikoya into a position where he has to be aggressive in response. That said, you've got Witch Hex, you've got Mage crit onto Sedge. You can be attacked on 2 sides. Don't think this side can be opened up. You can definitely eat a lot of damage on that Mage. Even see something like the dragon move down to cover? I don't think that would be the case. Yeah, dragon moves into a fairly safe position. Although he could eat a witch hit for that. And that's very gold efficient, if nothing else. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could see something like Sedge goes and kills that dog and then the witch runs up to hit. You know, you've got like a sword crit available on this mage. I don't know how I feel about this. It's not as vulnerable as you would think. Like, I think he can survive, but... How much do you do to wagon? 40. Okay, so the wagon's probably gonna live. How much do you do to a mage? You do 60 to a mage. That's like 90 average, so he's gonna go for that. Gets the average roll. So the witch can hex as a follow-up. And that opens up Sedge on 3 sides. I think you have to hex here. It's just like way too efficient not to. And this actually might just be game. Because you've got mage crit follow-up, which does a hefty chunk of damage. Like mage crit spot. Almost 40. Sedge runs around and hits. What does Sedge do? 45. Oh, you're putting Sedge in a very vulnerable position to do that though. Like the dog would finish off. So you got the options here are you try and high roll with like 3 units and maybe kill. If you fail, Sedge gets the sadistic rush as well. But if you don't go for it, you're basically letting your opponent have the win. Ooh. That's a 20 roll exactly. So it's actually a high roll from the dog. Means that these two, which deal an average of about 80 between them, have to do... Oh no! I think that might have been a mistake. I think he meant to hit from above. Because this mage would have killed as the follow-up. I guess he just didn't want to risk it. That might have been a misclick though. Because he high rolled with the dog. And you know, like a crit from a forest, like you've got average 25, and then you add a 1.5 multiplier to that. That's what, 37-ish? And that's 33. It would have been a roll, but it would have been not the worst roll in the world. Like I think you actually, that's a coin flip that's weighted in your favor. Now I think he just goes for a kind of like almost surround. We will need to drop a heal at some point though. I think Sedge is a little too vulnerable otherwise. Doesn't heal. Although that isn't the biggest deal, because if you did heal, the counter-attack damage would be higher, basically. Because you could potentially suicide an extra unit into Sedge from the river. And there isn't really much from Zeronix to kill Sedge here. Like, sure, you could suicide a dog or whatever, but this Sedge is very weak. He isn't going to do a lot of damage. There is only 1 mage heal available. So you're looking at like a dog suicide into like dog dragon sword crit, if that. And I don't know if that's enough. If this was like slightly closer, it might be more guaranteed. Like if this had been here. Oh, he's gonna go for it. Gets one dog. But that does a lot of damage. I don't know if this dog suicide would be available. And here's the thing, by refusing to heal Sedge, like that could have been 2 dogs, which would have done a lot, would have actually done more damage overall. And something that's important to note is this sword is still blocking this tile. Like, you need something to clear it. I think a sword crit would do it. He's probably really wishing that was like a witch right now. Like, he hadn't gotten that or that. Just like a sword witch instead. Because that would guarantee this. That would definitely make it so this would be lethal. And no matter what else is happening, like the clock's running down. So Zeronix is definitely in a position where they just have to back off. He's moving this dog into this balloon. I don't know what that's going to achieve though. It can't reach anything. All Zeronix has done this turn is suicide a dog. Let's have a look at the... So they're both on even income. Unit count favors Saikoya, but that's pretty normal. Okay, he's just gonna walk his commander back and heal. Sword crit on there, makes sense. Doesn't cost you anything, you might as well use the sword. Moves the wagon forward to heal. I think he's honestly just gonna leave it. He's just gonna be like, okay, I sacrificed the dog. Maybe that was a mistake. It isn't worth continuing. Ooh, and something I didn't really notice until now is this archer is here. So Saikoya is setting up for a later game. And Zeronix, the one thing he's really got going for him is he doesn't really need to be aggressive and play and try and go for coin flips. Because he's going to have Groove first. And in a Sedge versus anyone, but in I guess like especially Sedge versus Sedge, if you get Groove first, you can do so much with that. Anyway, he's just going to back off. Spent a lot of time thinking about it. We're almost 20 minutes into Zeronix's time in this game, and only on turn 8, so... Saikoya getting the good time trade out of this. There comes the question. What now? What will Saikoya do this turn? Because if he picks off anything, like if he puts anything in a position where it can get killed in return, or made low health, like Sedge is so dangerous now. You don't want to have anything near him. So like maybe gonna see like the knight go up and threaten this village up here. He's just gonna walk back and heal as well. They're just gonna kind of square off. Saikoya at this point doesn't really want to go super aggressive, because if he does, like he's behind on groove, so he can just chill for 3 turns or 4 turns or however long it's gonna take. It will come out on like turn 14 at this rate, I think. Like if no combat happens. I do think he's probably gonna put himself in a position where he can hit something once, but he definitely wants to avoid being next to these river tiles. Doesn't want to lose commander just yet. There's another dog, another balloon comes out. He did lose his first balloon. And yeah, sure, like the mage for the balloon trade, arguably very good. Like gold wise, like it's 50 gold, but unit count wise, you know, Zeronix was already behind on units. But I think that little scuffle in the middle traded out fairly well for him. And yeah, he's got a little bit of lead on the clock as well, so the ball is very much in Zeronix's court to try and make something happen. Someone in the chat saying like they have plenty of time left, and yeah, you know, 26 minutes is quite a lot, but they've been spending quite a bit each turn already, so especially those last couple turns. And you know, they have to, like, Zeronix has to think about how he's gonna do an aggressive play next. Like, Saikoya is threatening up here, so are you gonna move forces to defend? Alternatively, like, you could move down to this front and try and go for kind of like a trade. That does tend to be how this map works. Like, sometimes you'll see both players like try and avoid each other's main forces. But nope, Zeronix is gonna move his commander up here. Doesn't quite get into like the best defensive position. Like this knight can definitely run up, hit this village. The only thing that could really stop that... Oh, he's moved the pike into position. Okay. So yeah, he's moving back to defend. I guess the worry here is that Saikoya can now be aggressive on this front. Like he moves his forces down here. It's gonna be this kind of like back and forth. Like you kind of, I guess you would want to like leave the knight to threaten, and then move your forces over to this side, especially because Sedge isn't there. And you know, you've got access to this balloon now, so this archer can get over to this side a lot quicker. And I think we might just see things like double build archer. And something else to note is Saikoya has so many dogs now. He has 6 dogs against the 2 from Zeronix. So he has a lot more mobility in his army. He can definitely shift fronts as well. You can set up to threaten on this side. Potentially, he could do what Zeronix just did, attack in and take this village down. Although there might be a little bit too much here to stop that from being a possibility. You can't really safely block this side. Means a mage could come in and crit, so yeah. I don't think we'll see anything like that. This headquarters, the stronghold, is very vulnerable. Whereas Saikoya, he has enough units in front. He's got an archer he could just build. I honestly think 2 archers this turn would make a lot of sense. Leave 1 archer for defense, like try and get this other archer up to here. Get another archer to move up to here as well. Archers are so strong, they outrange infantry. So you always get the first hit in combat. And you get a first hit without taking damage in return as well. Zeronix doesn't have any knights, so he can't threaten this as much. Like a dragon will hit it pretty hard, Sedge will hit it pretty hard. So Saikoya has to be careful, but there's no double knight crit coming down on it to finish it off, or knight crit plus dragon hit. And Zeronix is going to want to basically grind him down. Okay, he's making a defensive posture, and he's got the archer, so I think he's like actually doing the right thing with that. He's got this defensive posture. Zeronix wants to kind of grind him down, but as long as there aren't good targets for Zeronix to hit into, I think that's actually favoring Saikoya at the moment. And you know, Saikoya's got 6 minutes more on the clock still. I will keep mentioning that, because it's a very important factor in this game. I like this positioning on the dog. Like if you'd moved it here, like the sword could have potentially come down and hit it. Like you start opening up for hits. And it does cover like a lot more of the front. So yeah, first archer comes out, balloons in range. Are we gonna see another archer? Could also see something like a knight come out, threaten this side. Dog comes out. Ooh. What are we gonna see then? Another balloon comes out. So Saikoya, he's making a very defensive wall formation. He knows that, for example, if he runs in with his witch and hexes and puts balloons in front, the mages can't kill those balloons, depending on the positioning. Like a crit could do it, you know, if you have to mage heal back. I mean, you could witch hex as well in response. This knight, ooh, 2 more tiles here, and it starts lighting in the headquarters. You'd even do stuff like you could put it 2 tiles here and, like, you know, it threatens this position. Mages become very vulnerable. Zeronix is now shifting his army down to the right. Yep, seeing Sedge go down here. Means that now Saikoya can push into this front up here. And this knight is such a key player because it threatens to one-shot villages, so you have to respect it. We're seeing Zeronix respond by getting spears, so setting up for a defensive formation, or at the very least like a strong counter-attack. Wagon moves down, and now he's shifted everything here. So this is a defensive posture from Zeronix. Like he could be aggressive and take this village down. I'm a little concerned for this mage, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Actually, one thing I'm very concerned about, witch could just sit here. And you know, like this witch could run in and hit it, but there's no mages that can reach this tile. So, you know, you just run, you fly your witch in and you hex, and that's a lot of stuff you're damaging. You're damaging like this, all the way up through here. $10, $25, $50, $70, $85. Ooh, he gets to be aggressive this turn. And this tile also cannot be reached. Sure, like the witch can fly and hit, but... And it actually makes a lot of sense not to hex, because then you're opening up unit suicides in. And now we're gonna see something come down here. I think a dog would make sense. It's relatively cheap. Oh no, wait, actually a sword would make more sense because, you know, sword runs in and gets a crit back. And it's actually cheaper as well, so. Oh, no, it goes for the dog, which will beat these as an option, and it won't get killed by anything, so. Like, even a mage will not kill this. Moves more of his forces up. A lot of tiles here that can't really be reached, so. He's very happy to let Zeronix hit down here. Not really units down here. He can only really reach 2 villages, so Dragon can hit this one. Sedge plus like Mage or Sword plus Sedge could do it. And this army can't push in. Because, you know, like the Night Crit can come down. There's a lot of units here that do a lot of damage. You've got these lovely archers to peck at anything that comes too close. And yeah, he's being very careful to make sure that Sedge can't reach anything. Because anything that could take damage, Sedge could run in and start like putting work in. Now come the unit builds. And this is actually quite difficult because like what do you build in this situation? Like air units, like you could get a second witch. Goes for another archer. Could see another balloon come out. Yep. Another balloon comes out and gets a spear, which is good. It's defensive. We'll deal with this knight. They'll probably reach the front lines around the same time. Okay, yeah, Zeronix is just going to take this opportunity to do as much damage as he can. So, decaps this village. Like, he can push an income lead right now. And, like, sure, like, I guess he can defend up here, but you're going to start seeing something like this knight can crit this on either side. So, Saikoya can easily capture this. He takes some damage on his sword to do that. But overall, that's very worthwhile to do. Major runs down and captures. I don't think he can capture this turn. No, no option to. But that puts him at a nice income lead, 1200 to 900. Now this is really scary, honestly, because if Saikoya can start doing sadistic rushes on things, and I almost wish it was like an archer here, because that would open up more opportunities to run forward and start hitting things with it. But yeah, he has to pull things back from Sedge's range. And he has to create a flat wall. Because if there is an opportunity to hit something on two sides, which right now there is, but you can close that up. And that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, you want a nice flat wall against Sedge. Yeah, Zeronix is just going to continue moving his army. He's taking longer on the turns. So that timer is going to come into play. You know, he's getting his archers up. He's got a knight available for counter attack. It also threatens down here. He can move that into position. It's only, what, 2 turns away from being able to crit a stronghold? Yeah, like, do it there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So 2 turns, it could potentially crit a stronghold. And yeah, Saikoya, he's gonna go for this capture himself. Brings income back. Fairly close. obviously cannot recapture either of those. This mage is in a good position, so this tower is camped. That tower can do nothing. That said, Saikoya could quite easily toss a mage in this balloon and move that up. And that would also camp this tower, which is in place to get crit. But we could see this mage go to this balloon, get dropped on the mountain, out of range of this archer. Spear's not going to do anything, and it will just kill anything that comes out of it. Like, and even if you say built a dragon, like the mage would absolutely obliterate it. It wouldn't have enough health to do anything in return. Yeah, he's just going to move his archers up to the front line. You can see this get dropped on this mountain. Yep. And this is now safe from getting killed by stuff. A sword will deal 70 to an archer. And on a mountain, that's more like less than 50, I think. He's just going to move his stuff into more aggressive positions. Who says fords? Oof, that's brave. But again, I don't know if he can die. There's only one archer and one hex range. That's what, like... We'll be generous and say 80 damage. So it's 80 health thing. Night crit from behind. Okay, but you just cover that. Like, you put an air unit here and this mage won't reach. Nothing can hit this square. So that's two sides he's really vulnerable on, so long as an air unit comes here. Just walks this archer up. Yeah, he's getting ready to push in. This archer can run forward and hit this. Kind of wish it could do more, but that's actually as far. It went from the barracks to here in one turn. That's pretty good. It also threatens to hit anything that hits Sedge, so nice positioning there. This can be more aggressive. It can hit these two squares, and you know, like potentially this square as well. Don't think anything's going to move onto the mountain this turn. Kara's really thinking about this. He's being very brave with his commander as well. It's hard to tell because I think Saikoya has the advantage in, like, he's got more archers up on this front line. Sedge is in a good position. I think he needs to be very careful with keeping this from having a night crit land on him. But so long as that happens, I don't think there's enough here to kill Sedge. You could even see he's going to put a dog down aggressively as well. Now this is very brave because a lot of things can hit this dog, but I don't think there's enough mobility on this side to really punish this. And even though this is like a nice income lead that's being generated here, and you know, he can do stuff like Sedge could go down and hit this village and not eat a lot of damage for it. And you know, he could take out this tower. He can't capture it this turn, but he can knock it down. But you know, Saikoya can do that as well. Saikoya builds a knight. At this point, you just want fast units that can reach the front line. Like, he's already like extended quite a bit further. And now what do you do as Zeronix? Like, I guess you back off, but let's say you back off, like where are you going to back off to? This is going to become vulnerable soon. Whereas like this is very, very safe. So and there's a lot more mobility on this side. Like it isn't just the fact that the archers move 3 and shoot 3. You've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs against 2 dogs here. Spears are great until archers run in and hit them. And spears don't zone archers, archers zone spears, so Saikoya can just keep walking forwards. Okay, we're gonna see Zeronix. Is he gonna move his units back to this front? Captures this village. Secures him a bigger income lead, it's alright. He's now consistently holding an income lead, which is where he wants to be. Ooh, he needs to either... This is a big problem though, because I think this will deal enough damage. Yes, so this can consistently hit from the mountain. Sedge can groove off of it. And I think he's actually created a situation which is really quite bad for him. I think Saikoya can now run in and get a large Sedge groove off. Just because this dog and this dog are both in positions to hit this sword and leave a side open. So Sedge can potentially grind down this front line now. Can eat a bunch of the swords. And basically just walk out without taking any damage. And he's got stuff like, if he does do that, he could shoot this. Then allows him to... How much do you do to a sword? 75. So there's like a decent chance... No, actually no, that's guaranteed. So an archer hit onto that sword, for example, means that Sedge can groove it. And I don't think either of these archers can actually move forward and hit, but this archer can. So we could see stuff like the archer comes forward and a bunch of dogs come forward and Sedge just eats a bunch of these units. And I think even like the knight crit on the spear will take the spear down to low enough health where Sedge could groove it afterwards. And you also have options like Witch Hex drives units down even further in health. So we're in a position where I think he could do a lot of damage to this front line. Like I think these units can all be killed safely. I think not the archer. He could hit it with a dog. It'd be good damage. But that might be the limit. There's definitely a lot of damage that can be dealt here. And you know, if you hex first, stuff that I guess was already guaranteed, but there's now less counterattack damage being involved. So like, you ram this knight into a spear that deals like 30% back at most, maybe? Not even that, actually. Maybe more like 15, 20%. Two hexes in return though, so Sedge would have to be very careful. He'd probably have to run back afterwards. Put himself in a nice defensive position. But Saikoya is thinking about it. I think he could just sacrifice a bunch of dogs and kill a bunch of these. And then set his army up to punish when this comes in on the dogs. He's thinking about it, and this is the, like one issue Sedge has, is that it takes a while to calculate this kind of move. Okay, he's doing kind of obvious stuff first. He's moving this to a bridge, which is a little bit vulnerable to this dragon, but not too bad. If it was a road, which this mage would probably die, but bridges aren't roads. Gonna use the knight to decap this tower. Makes a lot of sense. Fortunately, this won't be able to then crit onto there afterwards, but could go onto there next. Oh, and he's just gonna pull back. He's not gonna be aggressive this turn. I guess he's a little bit worried about Zeronix counterattack. But he can also start getting the advantage here where, you know, the force is pulled back on this side, so he can hold 3 towers against his opponent's 1 and make Zeronix like, have to build out of this, for example. And then he could reinforce his army up here with air units. I don't think he would, but he's just going to pull back a little. Would maybe have liked to have seen one archer run up and hit that village, just so the knight could take it out next turn without worry, but just gonna pull back. I think he still has a decent time lead. And his unit lead is growing as well, like he's taking off some stuff, but you know, if it comes down to one turn, like Sedge can kill half an army in one go. But I think Zeronix has the worst army for doing that. I think Dog and Archer and this Witch are much better against, compared to like lots of spears and lots of swords which are slower. But you know, Zeronix built an extra dog. Built an extra mage. Second witch comes out. It's very useful. Probably going to see a third witch, I think, come out for both sides. You can triple witch hex in one turn and still do 2 barracks builds. And that opens up so much opportunity for Sedge to groove. And now how does Zeronix respond? How do you push into this? He gave up this southern side, which I don't know if that was the best idea, because now he's going to lose this tower and there's nothing he can do about it. Even the dragon I don't think will actually reach up there in time. They're actually just going to move forwards? He's going to move forward into Sedge range as well. And I do not know how I feel about this. Third witch comes out. Lots of hexes that could come down in return. And I think he could do something like trade an archer. How much do you do to a spear? 65. So hex plus this would kill the spear, or allow like Sedge to groove off of it. How much do you do to a village? 40. This could potentially run down here, capture. And you could get like recaptures on this. You could capture these. So, you know, you take a look at the income. This could get evened up this turn. You know, you decap this. Sword plus knight. Yeah, that will guarantee do it. Just leaves the tower. He's not going to use it himself. I mean, you could see a witch get built out here to get to the front lines quicker, but... Use his own witch up. Not going to be aggressive this turn, just going to pull back again. And as you come out of like this terrain here, you open yourself up on more sides to attacks. And he's going to move... Possibly move this spear down here. No, he's moving it up. Oh, so he's just going to face this head on. Keeping everything out of range of Sedge. Sets up another knight crit. This is good. Could see this mage go for a decap, and then the knight could crit anything that tries to hit it. Nope. Keeps it in the forest. Ballista comes out. And this is good in this situation because this forces your opponent back. You're going to slowly push your opponent away. Like it comes up around here. And yeah, just... This is like a very late game, but I'm going to bully you unit. Slowly force Zeronix back. Oh, Zeronix being very aggressive this turn. Spear can hit that though. And archer crit. This is basically just dead. And he can recapture. And he's gonna move more. Oh, he's gonna keep moving forwards. He's in it. He has to, because he's behind on the clock. Like the clock difference has closed. But Zeronix is still behind. He's choosing to just be very aggressive. But now there's things like... Okay, I mean this archer would be a bit awkward to get. But that could move into position to shoot that. How much do you do to a knight? You do 45, so that's like 40 damage plus this, which does... Yeah, so archer plus spear will kill. These are open on a bunch of sides now, so... I think this is the turn Saikoya says, I'm just gonna go in. This knight not quite in the best position for attacking into the army, but you know, it can kill in and pick off like this dog or the sword or this village. Zeronix just gonna move his army up to this front now. Okay. I think Saikoya just runs in and kills a bunch of stuff. Goes for the first hex. Pretty big. That sets up beautifully for a Sedge Groove. Captures here. This sword is not going to do anything else. I mean, it could run up and capture this safely, but preferring income. Archer walks forward, shoots this. 35% exactly. And And I think we're going to see a bunch of sadistic rushes here. Ooh, sword crit comes down, but doesn't deal quite the right amount. I think this is when you see the second witch come in. Yep. And puts itself in a position where it won't take full damage from these witches here. Okay, so how does this get followed up on? I guess you like walk down here and kill this bear. Goes for the knight first. See like a dog come in. Archer would make more sense, but oh no, because he can hit this with an archer, so he's just gonna delete this front line.
Time to run.
Another dog comes in. Ooh, he really wishes that had done more damage. Move Sedge back. He could have killed this. But I think what happens now is the balloons move in. They get into a good position. I think he got a little bit unlucky with some rolls there, but the question comes like, can Zeronix do quite a lot of damage in return actually? He has to kill 6 units, so I guess he could kill like these 6 pretty comfortably. His own archer can walk forward and kill. I really wish he'd killed this. I think that would have been a really good kill to go for. But he's only going to lose, I think, 1 archer, and he's got double archers available. Follow up. Yeah, I think he really wish he'd hit that a bit harder. Gonna lose both witches to mages. There's like triple witch hex, quadruple witch hex potentially. We're gonna see if Zeronix can make this work. I mean, the awkward thing here is like, these are units at the front have to hit these basically. And there's things like all of, like these units can already be hit by like the back units here. There's a lot of mages to kill witches, so. Alright, first sadistic rush comes down. You see stuff like, oh, this is awkward as well though, because like the dog will, oh no, the dog doesn't kill it. I think there was a roll where the dog could have killed that, and you know, no sadistic rush for you. Guess like his end goal is to get up here. The dragon can hit stuff up here quite safely. There's no... His mages are a little out of position. Like, I wish one of these mages was, like, up here, but... Yeah, he can just pick off that for free. Like, I mean, it can eat archer damage in return, but archers only deal 15% average, so... That won't be a big archer play coming in to finish off the dragon with Sedge. Ooh, and just lots of damage coming back in return. They're both just going to nuke each other with witches. That witch can be reached by this mage though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the mage has enough health to kill that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that won't hit that. Alright, so Sedge is gonna get what? 1, 2 units off of the Sadistic Rush this turn. Run back and probably heal. Saikoya doesn't have the units to... He doesn't have witches, so he can't hex back this turn. He can only kill one of the witches with a mage. Yeah, like, you know, Sedge just walks back and heals. But I think there's going to be another big Sadistic Rush come down from Saikoya. These unit counts are just going to drop every turn. They are locked in a big combat situation now. Oh, he's just going to fly out of there with the balloon? I guess like he doesn't have to worry about which hexes. Could even see like... Oh no, he can't heal because like he spent all this stuff on hexes. And he can't really build units either. Like he's built a sword, he's probably going to build another sword. And that's about it really. And funnily enough, this like kind of just keep going to town. Like he can just like kill this village next. And move his sword to get ready to capture. And yeah, he's just going to go for that. And it sets up a crit on the stronghold. So this is quite vulnerable now. And his income is... He's pulled back the income lead pretty heavily. He's behind on unit count. Zero managed to do a lot of damage, but he's about to do a huge amount of damage in return. Here's the first dog crit. Sedge can walk in, get the Sadistic Rush. Could see a sword crit. I guess like this sword's the closest one. Alright, uses the 9 health one. Yep, that'll do it. Oh, goes for this sword as well, so he's setting up like a longer rush.
Time to run.
Could go back and forth really. Sword crit comes down on this mage next. It's a little awkward. These witches, he doesn't have a lot to kill them with. Like, this mage can't reach. This is the only mage that can kill. And he can only kill this witch or this witch. So he has to choose. Alright, sword crit comes in. So he can rush. Gonna go here. Alright, so he's gonna start on this side and then go back across.
What's your step?
Could maybe see a mage shield come down. Just to heal this sword. I don't think that'll put it in a place where this would take enough damage, but he could follow up with an archer, kill the wagon. People ask you how much the archers deal to witches, and the answer is 25. So 2 archers hitting this could actually make it weak enough, but I don't think he's going to go for that. Decides not to do something like a sword crit on the wagon. Guess he just kind of wants to push through. Actually, in theory, 2 archers hitting this, if they had like full health, could bring it low enough that Sedge could groove. So he could have killed 2 witches. He would have had to have used both archers to do it though. And yeah, he's just going to pick off a witch with a mage. You can see these mages move in. Drop some heals even. Like maybe make these swords a little less easy for the witches just to hex down, but... And he's going to walk back and heal. So not dealing a huge amount of damage, but definitely like a decent chunk. Could see like this balloon could come back and pick up another archer next turn. Alright, and big mage heal comes in. Yeah, he doesn't want to see these units like easily killed. But I don't know, was that enough? He's 3 units up at the end of his turn. He still has his builds. He's gonna lose like this sword, these 2 swords, probably this dog, and this, and maybe even these dogs? I don't know. They're both running out of units though, and because Saikoya attacked first and built the first wave, right, he's got another mage coming in. I guess he's a bit worried about like eventually the units are just gonna fall down in health enough that the witch hexes will like slowly kill them over time. So he's healed up his army, he's pulled most of it back. This archer is vulnerable to getting killed. This archer isn't though. This is quite safe and can kill anything that will... Zeronix, he's just been building a lot with dogs. He's been keeping his dogs back. So they both have this kind of pack of dogs available. This ballista is going to be quite annoying to deal with. 1, 2, 3... Alright, so this can't kill that. But can this combined with 35... This plus this could maybe take this down. Something actually very important to note here is if Zeronix triple hexes, which he's gonna go for, or he double hexes first. Okay.
What's yours?
I'm kind of curious if he can get Sedge all the way around here and hits this with like a dragon and gets the archer to hit on Sedge. I think he might actually have lethal. Ooh, he can get 2 archers in range. Sedge might be dead. He would have to get this lower health though to do it. I don't know if that's actually an option. So he may not go for a lethal, but he might just try and do as much damage as possible. Yeah, we're just seeing more and more damage come down. Archers can walk forward. He could kill like this dog, and this sword. And this archer this turn.
Time to run.
I'm actually thinking about it. Zeronix has like a big unit lead, but a lot of it's in balloons. Although, you know, I guess like there's 2 balloons in a wagon here and 3 balloons, so it's not really that different. Ooh. Dog doesn't kill. Oh, I think he really wanted that lethal. Because if that happens, dragon plus Sedge can come in. And these are just out of range, so he can't.
What's your step?
That's unfortunate. I think he really wanted that to kill. So, dragon hits from the left, Sedge grooves from the right. Or even just hits. Both of them do quite a lot of damage. Alright. And yeah, he's just getting what damage he can.
Sage hungers.
There isn't too much to punish these witches again. Like, you've got a mage. And then that's it. Like, this mage can't reach. Goes for this pick off here. Like, yeah, nothing can reach up there. Edge just walks back. Zeronix, because these witches are alive, they're doing a lot of work each turn. But he can't build anything now. Right, he's just going to go for a kill there. Although, you know, like... Oh, in theory this dog wants to go up here rather than go fight over here. This can reach. Yeah, so Knight could just come up and smack this. Hitting the stronghold, well, I can't hit the stronghold anymore, but it would have been a bit pointless to do that. And we could even see like the Knight kill this and this dog kill this dog. And the Ballista just keeps moving up. It could, Ballista can eventually get into a position where it will kill the stronghold. Alright, and what does Saikoya do in return? I mean, I think you want to heal this. Oh, heal comes down. Goes for that instead. Doesn't kill the dog. Injures it really badly. Although that's really unfortunate because now a dog crit can come back in return. And you don't really want to have to spend a second dog. Because actually if he'd killed these, he could have moved this up way more aggressively. But this is now able to prevent this Ballista from moving forward as quickly. I mean, it's not a huge amount of damage it would take, but still very annoying. Puts the sword in the balloon. I think that makes a lot of sense. I guess this dog's going to come here and hit this dog. You just want the biggest sedge groove of your life this turn. And then to heal sedge at the end of it or move sedge back in a balloon. Zeronix is like a much bigger army left over. The head on 4 units at the end of his turn. Saikoya really wants to be able to kill stuff. Alright, a good mage hit. This wagon's gonna go down now. Probably gonna kill this dog first though. Just so the mage can pick off another witch. Moves his balloons back.
Time to run.
Gets the wagon first. I guess he's gonna try and pick off a line of dogs. Yep. First dog goes down. Probably this one and then this one. It could actually kill the sword and then pick off the archer. Goes for heal. Interesting. Sword crit gonna come down? Alright, uses dog.
Time to run.
Picks off again. He doesn't really have the most follow-up here though. Like, I guess this could potentially come in and deal enough damage. I mean, he can kill this dog now and move over here, so maybe that's what he's going for. Yeah, just finishes that dog off. Put stuff in this balloon. Moves it back.
Sage hungers.
Is he just gonna move across the map? It will force Zeronix to defend. Ballista comes in. So this square can no longer be defended by a balloon. It will die. And yeah, he's just taking up a defensive posture. I mean, he's going to lose a bunch of units for it. And I think if we look at this, the way it's playing out, like he's going to end his turn on a lead, but he's just going to keep eating punishes for it. Another mage comes out. I guess Sedge just walks here, hits this. You don't want to end on this tile because like suicides will come in and triple witch hex. Okay, just kills. What are we looking at? Alright, he ends his turn on a 4 unit lead. And he's going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. At least. But he's also threatening the stronghold. And there isn't a lot of stuff left on the ground. Like, I think there's just enough to kill units this turn. But, you know, eventually he can counterattack next turn as well. Just ground their armies into each other. Very little left. Ooh, this is a little awkward. Because, you know, how does Sedge actually hit? Oh, I guess like the balloon moves and then that opens up. That isn't enough. He needs to do another witch hex. He definitely has the money for it though, so.
Time to run.
1. Second one can come down.
What's your step?
I guess like Archer crit lands on this, but that would just kill it. Alright. Kills that as well, so another unit going down.
Time to run.
This is just gonna die. Dog dies. Dragon can actually deal with stuff there.
What's your
Ooh, he's even gonna keep his archers in a pretty safe position. Like an archer could hit that in theory. Oh, runs forward, hits there. Another statistic rush can come in.
What's your step?
There really isn't much army left. He does have this mage though. But there's barely anything left here. And Sedge can't really reach stuff. Alright, Dragon's coming. Dragon's dead though. I bet, like, Sedge really wishes, like, of everything, I bet he really wishes, like, this was a little bit closer, because then he could, like, run in and Sedge Groove to finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's not gonna reach there. Could reach a balloon though, and you could get like 2 dog crits on it. That isn't enough though. Alright. Knight's gonna come down. There's nothing really stopping this knight, so he just needs to keep his headquarters alive. Mage gonna walk back and heal. This mage can walk forward and kill the dragon. It's the archer. He just wants to keep his headquarters alive at this point. It's very difficult to do because there's still 2 witches alive. But he can pick off units here and there. Like, I think he can... Yeah, even without Sedgegroove, he's still going to kill a lot of units here. That sword's dead. And there's not much left to threaten this. And this is now threatening both sides of this, so... Oh, what do you do in this situation? Just like push Sedge forward, push the dog forward as well. Might as well. Oh no, it comes back and heals. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is. Another dog comes in. And this is so close. I actually think he's going to win off of this, but Sedge could get a big Sadistic Groove here. Or Sadistic Rush even.
What's yours?
Gonna kill those.
What's your step?
But I don't know if this is gonna work.
What's your step?
I think he's gonna... He's just run out of stuff, and like they both have, but this position is more advantageous. There's, like, there should have been a spear, but he was spending so much gold on these witch hexes. And I guess, yeah, like you have to fly back and witch hex all these over and over again. Because it's the only way the stronghold's not gonna die. How much do you do to a witch? You deal 100 exactly. So funnily enough, if you triple witch hex this, it can shoot something. This is gonna happen. Like, he's gonna shoot one of these, and then he can just like Sadistic Rush and run away, or Sadistic Rush and then Sadistic Rush again. And yeah, Zeronix is having to pull back. He's got a minute left on the clock, but that doesn't really matter because Sedge can literally just Sadistic Rush this, shoot one of these witches, probably trade the knight out for... Oh, do you even want to trade the knight out? You could just run it back. Yeah, he's just going to be able to Sadistic Rush, that's guaranteed. Like, that was a low roll and it's guaranteed. And now you can just run back and heal off this village. And like, this knight can just run back as well. And Saikoya, oh no, he's going to go for that. I mean, that's not great because like Sedge can rush it. And you really don't want Sedge getting more Sadistic Rush. I think that was a bit of a wasteful trade. I don't quite know how I feel about this either, but I mean, he's going to pick off an archer for a dog, so... He's just going to walk his balloon forward and heal it. And, you know, this is going to be a lot of damage too. He's going to move his knight forward. And he's not spending huge amounts of money on witch hexes each turn. So Saikoya is in a really good position at the end of that fight. Like, he's only up a little bit in unit count, but like, what are these gonna do? I mean, they could, like, fly on top of this and hex it, but he just had to spend so much gold to hex 3 units that aren't worth that much. And he has to like injure a sword or hex. And that's a lot of gold to spend. No, he's gonna hex.
Sage hungers.
But yeah, he just spent 600 gold to kill a unit. Ooh, but he could go for like a surround almost. Oh, and that's a bit scary. Oh, but he gives up. I think he's out of time. And I think there was a way for Saikoya to get out of that anyway. So yeah, Wolf Blade to Saikoya takes it over Zeronix. That timer really sneaks up on you. And that was like such a grindy game in the mid game. Wow.